Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, boys. So today I'm going to give you the answer of very important question that most of the people have. The question is, why does the suffering exist in this world? Why does suffering exist in this world? What does this mean? I mean, why there are problems, pain and suffering and calamities and difficulties? Why Allah has created all the problems? Why? What happened? Answer. You have the answer. Wow, what is the answer? We forget Allah. That's why Allah sometimes give us the problem so that we can remember Allah. Yeah, this is one of the answer. Yeah, right. So this is one of the answer that He has given. Okay, so why Allah just didn't create, the world with full of harmony and peace and pleasant life? Why Allah created problem in the first place? So did this question ever cross your mind? Did this question ever cross your mind? See, why this type of question doesn't come our mind? Because our faith is so strong, our iman is so strong. That's why these kinds of question don't come to our mind. But there are many people out there, when they go through the problems, they abandon their religion. When they go through any kinds of problems or suffering or pain, they stop writing. When they go through any kind of problem, they just abandon their religion because their iman is, or their faith is not as strong as ours. For example, people out there, if they believe in a particular religion, for example, somebody believes in Hinduism, Christianity, or Judaism, or any kind of religion, when they go through the problem, they think, okay, what is the point of believing in religion when I am going through this and that kind of problem? When they believe a religion wholeheartedly and when they face the problem, they just abandon the religion. One reason that these type of question don't come to our mind. The second thing is, we are so habitual of experiencing and observing different kinds of calamities and problems and pain from the very early age of our life. So that's why we become so habitual. That's why we don't raise the question. Today we will try to understand the answer of this question from the Quran and Hadith. What Allah has said, what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has said. Okay. So the first thing is, evil is the exception, not the rule. What is the first point? You to stop it, Mustafa and you. Why don't you understand? You know everything. You don't need to hear this lecture. If you don't need to hear this lecture, just go out. If somebody thinks that it is not for me, it is useless, just go out then. And if somebody thinks that the entire school is not for me, be at home. Simple. You feel good or bad, but I will say bluntly, and your talk is more important than mine. So the first point is, evil is the exception, not the rule. What is the first point? Evil is the exception, not the rule. What does this mean? Let me give you one example. By the example, you will understand easily. That from the very early age of your life, have you been living your life healthy or unhealthy? Healthy. Most of the time you were healthy, or most of the time you were unhealthy? Of course healthy. In the same way, have you been living your life in tsunami, war and earthquake and natural disaster, or most of the time you are living your life peacefully, happily, pleasantly, peacefully, right? So it means that the problem that Allah has created, it is just for a moment. It is not the rule, it is the exception. Most of the time people live their lives so happily, so peacefully. Understood? From the very early age of your life to till now, most of the time you are so healthy and so flourishing. Sometimes you get sick. तो एक बात समझ में आई कि ज्यादातर हम अच्छे से ही रहते हैं, कभी कभी प्रॉब्लम आती है. यह है इसका मतलब, evil is the exception, not the rule. evil is not the default state of existence. क्या इसका मतलब evil is not the default state of existence. तो पहला पॉइंट याद रखना, evil is the exception not the rule. The second point, everybody, the second point is we appreciate good thing only when it is taken away or shaken. We appreciate good thing only when it is taken away or shaken. What does this mean? For example, we have been living our life so healthy, everything is going well and good. We take it for granted. But the moment we get sick, at that time we realize the importance of health. Oh, how important the health was. As long as we are living our life so healthy, we take it for granted. And this is something that happened to me. There was a time in my life that I got severely sick and it went for too long. At that time I decided to myself, the moment I will get healed, I will join the gym, I will start doing the martial art and all. And the moment I got healed, I forgot everything. And this is the common human tendency. When people are sick, they start taking health seriously, and as long as they are healthy, they take it for granted. So we appreciate good thing only when it is taken. As long as, for example, from the very early age to till now, if you just think about yourself, how blessed you are. Allah is showering on you with so many blessings, but you don't count. You only count ungrateful thing. You only count the disaster thing. You only count the problems in your life. The goodness that you have in your life, you never count it. And only not you. I'm not actually saying to you only. This is the common human tendency. Every human being does the same. Right? So we appreciate good thing only when it is taken away or shaken. जब वो चीज छिन जाती है तब हमें उसकी कदर होती है. Without illness we would never appreciate health. तो ये है दूसरा पॉइंट. फर्स्ट पॉइंट क्या था? Evil is the exception, not the rule. Second point, we appreciate good thing only when it is taken away or shaken. Understood? The third point, I will ask you the summary as well. So that's why listen to me very, very carefully. I will ask anybody to stand up and then give me the summary. So that's why be careful, be mindful, and listen to me very, very carefully. And I don't know, because this is very important topic. If you do not pay attention to this topic, which topic you would pay attention to then? So the third point was, what does this mean? What does this mean? If we have to understand the light, we would never understand the concept of light if there is no darkness at all in the world. We understand light only because darkness is there. If, for example, for a moment, just imagine there is no night at all in the world, there is no darkness at all in the world, we would never, wake up, we would never understand the light, first of all, and we would never give the importance of light. हम लाइट को अहमियत क्यों देते हो? लाइट हमें समझ में क्यों आती है? क्योंकि डार्कनेस इज वहां पर है. एवरीथिंग इज इजीली अंडरस्टूड ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ द ऑपोजिट ऑफ इट. Because of the opposite of it, we understand health because of the sickness. We understand light because of the darkness. We understand goodness only because of badness is there. So we only understand the things by the opposite of it. Goodness exists only because hardship exists. One more example, charity. Everybody loves charity, doing charity or taking charity, but people loves charity. But why we love charity and why we appreciate those people who give the charity? Because there is poverty. For example, if there is no poor people in the world, everybody is so rich, how we will understand the concept of charity? We understand the concept of charity only because poverty is there. There are poor people, that's why we understand the concept of charity. So poverty also must be there and charity also must be there. So the third point is goodness exists only because hardship exists. The fourth point, calamities bring hearts back to Allah. What does this mean? As long as we are living our life so peacefully, healthy and pleasantly, we take it for granted, as I mentioned before. When we go through the problem, when some calamity befalls on us, when something bad happens to us, at that time we remember Allah. As long as we are living our life, everything is going so smoothly, so well, we are having our job, our health is okay, we have good family, everything we have that is good, we have our own house, our own cars, the luxury life, everything we have, we forget Allah. And this is also the human common tendency. Why Firaun became Firaun? Firaun became Firaun because Allah has given him everything. He had so much wealth, health, power, he was so powerful politician, everything he had. And historians write that he never went through the headache problem ever. He never faced headache ever. So that's why he started thinking, wouldn't it be like I'm a god? And then he started claiming, Ana Rabbukumul Ala. I am your greatest Lord. I am your greatest Lord. मैं तुम्हारा सबसे बड़ा खुदा हूँ. Ana Rabbukumul Ala. How he started claiming? Because Allah had given him everything a human needs. I mean, more than the human needs, Allah had given him everything. That's why he started claiming that I am the God. So the problems, the pain, the suffering that we go through, actually Allah make us go through with all these things because so that we cannot forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fourth point, right? Calamities bring hearts back to Allah. Now, वो पूरा के पूरा 4 पॉइंट देखते क्या है, तेरे को समझ में नहीं आता, तेरे को तू इधर आ जा, वहाँ पे जाके नील डाउन हो जा, आ जा तू क्लास में बैठने के लायक नहीं है, नील डाउन वहाँ पे. So the first point was evil is the exception, not the rule. The second point, we appreciate good thing only when it is taken away or shaken. The third point was goodness exists only because hardship exists. And the fourth point was calamities bring hearts back to Allah. Calamities bring hearts back to Allah. Fourth point, that how we will distinguish between the trial and the punishment. How we will distinguish between the trial and the punishment. What is the way? What is the way to distinguish between the two? यानी हम कैसे समझेंगे कि ये आजमाइश है या अल्लाह का अजाब है? If a person is going through some problem, so how we will distinguish? Sometimes we also want to understand that is Allah happy with us or Allah angry with us. So how do we distinguish between the two? That it is a trial or it is a what? Punishment. And I think I have given this answer before as well. So see, to understand this concept, if the problems, the pain, suffering, everything bringing him closer to Allah, it means that it means that it is a trial for him. Allah is happy with him. If all the problems, pain and suffering are bringing far from Allah, it means that it is a punishment or it is a curse. So to understand between the two things, very easy, that if the problems are making you closer to Allah, it is a trial. If the problems are bringing far from Allah, then it is a punishment. Because this is the very common thing that happens among the people. When people go through some problem, then people are divided into two groups. One, when they go through the problem, they start saying, oh, Allah gives me this problem and that problem, now I will stop praying namaz, I will stop making dua. Or the other community also does the same thing. Oh, what is the point of believing in all things when I'm believing in all things, even though I'm going through from every problem? So they stop doing everything. But the other type of people is such, when they go through some problems, they go more close to Allah, they go closer to Allah. So ये कॉमन सी बात है, ऐसा होता है. So to understand between the two things, very easy. If the problems are bringing you closer to Allah, it means it is a trial. If the problems are bringing far from Allah, it means it is a punishment and the curse. And one more thing, see, Allah gives the problem to the ones whom Allah loves the most. Prophets are the people who are tested the most. Prophets are the people who are tested the most, and those people who are closest to them, and then those people who are closest to them. So it means if the people are so nice and kind, God fearing people, Allah will test them the most. This is the common and this is the fact. If you are so nice, so kind, so God fearing, so nice person, that Allah will test you the most, because prophets are tested the most. Understood? And there is a Quranic verse, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not burden any human being responsibility heavier than he can bear. Allah does not give any person, any human being, harder problem than he can handle or than he can bear. This is also a fact. If Allah is testing you from something, it means that Allah knows that you can pass the test. That's why Allah is testing you. It is impossible that Allah is testing you from something and you think, yo, it is impossible for me. I cannot handle this problem. No. It is only that you gave up, that's why you give up. If you don't give up, you will never ever give up. You give up, that's why you give up. So if Allah is testing you from something, Allah knows more than you can handle. But the only thing that we already sometimes give up, and we so easily sometimes give up. Understood? Okay. The last point, not the last point, second last point is, there are two people. There are two people. One is standing here, one is standing here, for example. Okay, and Allah has given him everything. He is so rich. He has so much money and everything. Allah has given him the luxury life. Everything a human needs, Allah has given him. Right? His life is full of luxury. He is so famous. He has everything. And on the contrary, there is other person who has nothing, who is so poor, even he does not afford one time of meal. He is that kind of poor. Normal people think that, okay, Allah is giving him everything, it means that Allah is happy with him, that's why Allah is giving him everything. And on the contrary, if the person is so poor, Allah didn't give him everything. So even sometimes human being thinks, okay, Allah is very angry with him, that's why Allah hasn't given him everything. Understood? But this is the misunderstanding. This is what? Misunderstanding. Having everything and having nothing is not the criteria of that Allah is happy with him or Allah is angry with him. Because prophets are the people who are poorest among the people. Prophets are the poorest among the people. So it means what? Prophets are not beloved to Allah. Prophets are the people who are beloved to Allah or most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they go through the problems the most. So it means having everything and having nothing does not mean at all, or is not the criteria of that Allah is happy with him or Allah is angry with him. Understood? Okay, now there is one Quranic verse as well. Kutiba alaykumul qitalu wa kurhul lakum wa asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum wa asa an tuhibbu shay'a wa huwa sharrul lakum. What does this mean? Wa asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum. You may like something but it is bad for you. Wa asa an tuhibbu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum. You may like something but it is bad for you. You may like something but it is bad for you. You may dislike something but it is good for you. A complete silence. What's happening there? There is a Quranic verse that وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ. You may like something but it is bad for you. You may dislike something but it is good for you. You never know. For example, at the time of getting married, what happens? And sometimes it is a common amongst people that when people like something, but they don't know that it is good or bad. For example, at the time of getting married, when the spouse is getting selected, when any spouse got selected, at that time they think, oh, this person is very good for me. I will live happy life with him or her, and they are so happy. But just after getting married, just after a month or 1 year, they will understand and they will realize, oh, this person was the pathetic for me. I hate this person. Even I want to kill that person. They hate each other like that, and sometimes happens contrary. When they at the time of getting married, when the spouse is getting selected, and when the spouse got selected, at that time they think, oh, this person is not good for me. They don't want to marry, but their parents force. That's why they get married, and later on they realize, oh, that was the good person, that was the best person for me. Later on they realize something like that. So कि जवाब में, अगर मैं जो शुरू में सवाल किया था ना, इधर ध्यान दो, मैंने जो शुरू में सवाल किया था कि प्रॉब्लम दुनिया में है क्यों, तो इसका एक लाइन में जवाब है, अल्लाह हैज क्रिएटेड प्रॉब्लम फ्री लाइफ इन द पैराडाइज, नॉट इन द वर्ल्ड. World is full of problems and paradise is problem free life.